Recording in progress.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order now. The time is 6 p.m. on April 21st, 2022. Can I have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. So everybody knows our meeting is being recorded and televised via WCAT 12, our local access network, and via Zoom. We're streaming for Zoom also. Just so everybody's aware of that. Okay. First thing on the agenda is Mr. Ken Pratt about the school memorabilia moved to the school.
Yes, good evening. My name is Ken Pratt, Warren High School class of '67, and I would like to request authorization to relocate the Warren High trophies and memorabilia to the Quabog High School and research the second floor and the gym area or anywhere else in this building for memorabilia. This is in the process, step one. I understand you gentlemen control what's in this building, and the second step after your approval would be to do our due diligence to find out all the history and research any memorabilia or trophies. And then the third step is the school committee. And nothing would be moved or touched until we have the final approval. So, everything would have to be cleaned after that. And, I've had communication with the school, and, they basically advised what steps we have to proceed with. So I'm here to ask your approval if eventually we could move the trophies and memorabilia of the high school, seeing it's no longer Warren High here, it's the Shepherd Municipal Building. So I would like the history to be put in a proper place where the sports memorabilia, we wouldn't lose the history of the town.
Do you have anything else, sir?
No, that would be it. Just to have somebody, if you say, okay, eventually in the next couple of weeks to research what's in the building and whatever, that's all.
Okay. And you'd do that, right?
I have
You'd
myself.
have somebody?
Oh, yeah, somebody with me. The alumni that we're talking with on this is, I got a principal, 2 teachers, all retired, a couple businessmen. So whoever we could get to research it and whatever, I'd appreciate it, so.
All right, very good. So I think it should be in the school. It's school,
Yeah.
it's school memorabilia. I understand this used to be the school back in the day.
Yes.
But it's not anymore.
Right.
And it really should be at the appropriate place because, I see it in the case and, I don't think it's being taken care of like it should. There should be much more respect to those things. They should be cleaned properly, taken care of, preserved, and, made to last for generations.
Well, we brought this up last year. I have been involved with the school for 50 years, okay? But last year, my photo was added to the Veterans Wall. My father was honored as a World War II Purple Heart recipient. A scholarship was given by the Brookfield Institute in his name. So I was able to see, and I said, it bothered me there was no history of Warren High, the predecessor of Quabog. So,
Yeah. So what we're talking about is moving the sports memorabilia from the high school to the high school. From our case here, our display case. One of the things that, I definitely feel is we're not doing the due diligence to preserve that history. And I think it would be better kept at the school. And in this way, it could show the history of the schools too. for all those future students coming up, they could say, hey, we won these titles during this time and these years, and show the history of things as it progressed.
Yeah.
And that seeing memorabilia like that, it builds school pride to see all that stuff. And, you know, I'm in support of
Yeah, I am
to
too.
move.
Yep, fine with me.
So,
I agree, sir. I think it's, I mean, if you are willing to, and I heard about this before, so if you, whatever we do to, you know, conserve that heritage about it and keep growing it, I think I have no problem with that.
We would get the senior citizen community involved, okay? Because as we get older, like my generation, it's the memories and stuff, you need stuff to, you know, remind you, okay, of what transpired back then, so.
Yeah. No, I'm good with it. Jim, did you have anything on it?
No, no, yeah.
Okay. Do you have any comments?
No, I'm good.
Do you have any comments?
Well, like I said, I'm happy about it because honestly, we have so many things to do around here and that we don't wanna not take care of something that we should. So I think it's in better hands.
Okay. Anybody have any comments? Anybody from Zoom World have any comments?
I think the grandparents, I mean, the kids will see their grandparents' history, you know, or their great-grandparents' history. And I think, like you say, it'll give them a lot of pride
Yeah.
in what has transpired all these years.
No, I think it's a good thing, and I think it's a very noble cause you're taking up, sir. And I respect that. And thank you very much for your service, by the way.
Thank you.
You know, I've been there myself, I know how it is to serve, and, you know, I have a lot of respect for others that have done it also.
I appreciate
Well,
it.
thank you for your service.
Thank you. What branch?
Navy,
Ah,
Upper River.
I'm a Marine.
My son, 5 years, just got out a year ago,
Yeah.
so.
Cybersecurity.
Ah, very
Very
good.
intense.
Yeah, that's where you wanna be, you know? Some of the best places I've been were Navy bases. And I've been to Coronado and, you know, those
He was
places.
stationed in Miramar and then a year overseas, but most of his time was in Miramar, so
Okay.
he's happy to be home in Massachusetts.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's nice. The good thing about the military is you get to see a lot of places that you normally never see, and meet a lot of people that you normally would never meet. And develop relationships and friendships that are bonding for lifelong. And, you know, it's an experience that I know not everybody gets to do, but the ones that do, it changes you.
You appreciate the United States a lot more.
You do. Yeah, you do.
At home.
I think the flag, it becomes much more than just a piece of cloth with some coloring.
So true.
It represents what we all stand here for and why we do it. And it binds, no matter what branch you are.
Yeah, yeah.
You could be Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, Space Force now, you know, whatever branch you're in.
It allows us.
We all have that.
It
on
allows
our
us to
shoulder.
do this. A lot of countries don't have this opportunity.
No. So, thank you very much for
Thank you.
taking up this in good cause, you know, and we can do a motion. If
Yeah.
anybody unless anybody has any objections to it.
I'll make a motion to allow Ken Pratt to,
objections.
Stop.
research and move the, high school memorabilia to the, high school.
Okay.
Second,
All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's, aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. Sir, you have your permission.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
If you need anything, please let us know.
Yeah. And who, if in a couple weeks, if I can get some guys together, or a guy, just to come up to research, who would I see, or who would I talk to?
You would talk to one of them.
Okay,
Either Karen Dusty or Jim Ferrara. And Jim Ferrara is our new town administrator.
Okay.
And Karen Dusty is our administrative assistant.
Jack of all trades. Karen
She
is
does a lot.
106, Jim is 107, extension lead from your town hall.
106, 107. Great, thank you very much, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, do you have anything further?
No, that was it.
Okay.
This is the starting point.
Oh, you dropped your phone.
Yeah, this
Okay.
That's okay. That's,
This is the starting
you're
point.
so kind.
and
Thank
from
you so
here,
much.
We'll
I
go to
appreciate
step
it.
2, and then eventually step 3 with the school committee. And from that point on, then we'll be able to, you know, work on it.
You might wanna, just a recommendation, you might wanna try to link up some time with Sylvia Buck also.
Mhm.
Oh, precious Sylvia.
Because she's very knowledgeable about everything Warren,
Mhm.
and she might be able to help you out with a lot of your research
That'd be
and what the
great.
memorabilia is.
Yeah.
So definitely reach out to
Yeah,
Sylvia.
that, we have to do our due diligence, that's step 2. So, great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Have a good, if you want to. Nobody's standing by the door to hold you there, so
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
have a good weekend.
Hey, Joe.
Thanks for your service.
Thank you, folks.
Okay,
Take care now.
so terms of contract for the Bigelow Electric Company.
Unfortunately, Jim's not here right now, and I don't know if
You
he's
have
gonna
an
be back.
ambulance call.
Okay, so we could skip unless, well, he kind of is briefing, do you know?
Well, yep, Jim Dusty and I met this week, and Jim had brought to my attention, and to some extent, maybe Rich's attention as well, with regards to, there's 2 companies that's on retainer for servicing our generators. One is Power Products, and one is Bigelow Electrical Company. And it would appear as though that after Jim's research, that Bigelow and Power Products are doing almost very comparable work. And a majority of town departments are using Power Products, and whereas the Bigelow Electrical has been used by the sewer department for some time. This particular contract is on a automatic renewal with Bigelow. Power Products also services the sewer department as well. So it would be in the best interest of the town to cancel one of the service contracts to stop with the duplication of services. So Jim had arranged a meeting with Zach down at the sewer department, and Zach had indicated that he doesn't have a preference as to either one, and that his main concern was that if a situation was to arise, he wants a quick response time. And he feels as though that either company would be able to provide that. Jim feels that either company would be able to provide that. And it was recommended that Power Products be the company that would service the sewer department. And so Bigelow we would not need their services any further. It's recommended. It's totally up to the board's discretion, but Jim thought it was necessary to bring it to the board's attention.
Okay. Do you have any?
Well, just what's it, Power Product?
Power Products LLC?
Yeah, so they're handling all the generators in town, so,
Yeah.
yeah, I would go with them.
Yeah, the whole thing is we want to make sure that we utilize one contract
Yeah.
for all of these, because when we first got on, there were contracts all over the place, and every department was handling their own generator service, and it was just way too confusing, and we weren't getting the services provided that we needed. Equipment wasn't being maintained, so we brought everything under one contract, which makes a lot more sense, because then you only got one company you call, one person that you need to say, hey, get your butt over here, fix my generator, it just broke. And, you know, it's more of a responsibility under one fund for the buildings. So it made a lot more sense to do that. Do you have any questions, Derek? Anything there?
No, I think it's a more clever thing just to have one, you know, one provider, one bill, one, if we have an emergency, you can take advantage and stop at the other places and just do a quick check. No, it's no brainer, sir.
You, what do you feel?
Yeah, I think, let's go with Power Products. I think the value was better also, money-wise, so.
So, we left it with Zach saying that, it's ultimately the board's decision, and whatever the board had instructed us to do, I would notify Zach tomorrow, and also Bigelow, to let them know that, their services are no longer needed, and for Zach to know to call Power Products from now on.
Yeah. I would say also, if there's an auto renew, that we get a notice before it actually renews. I mean, it's
Yeah.
great that it auto renews, but can we have, 30-day email?
Well, I don't like that auto renew, because sometimes they implement new stuff in the contract,
Right.
Or price changes.
or price changes,
Right.
and like, well, we just automatically renew your contract.
Yeah,
At this higher rate.
yeah, it went up 100%.
No, the whole purpose of negotiating contracts, so we can look at it,
Yeah,
and if you're not the best gig in town, we'll find somebody else that's gonna be doing it.
Or the light that we were waiting to put on because the contract was about to expire, remember the light? the
Yeah,
light-
that's the street lights.
Yeah.
The street light, and it was like,
yeah, we got.
Yeah, you gotta address that one
proposed
too.
on that
So, your recommendation, sir?
I would defer to Jim's recommendation and defer to Zach's. I think Zach is comfortable with Power Products, and I haven't heard anything negative against Power Products. So I would tend to say, having it streamlined into one company that everybody uses, that everybody knows that their go-to company, I think would make the most sense.
Okay, do a motion?
I'll make a motion to discontinue all relationships with Bigelow Electric for the sewer generator.
second,
All in favor?
Rich Ihacker, aye.
Derek Bellis, aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. We will discontinue service with Bigelow Electric Company for the sewer department. Okay. All right, Central Mass Regional Planning Commission agreement. Motion to accept the contract, amendment number 2 for Central Mass Regional Planning Commission.
Want me to just make the motion?
Oh, back, under agenda.
That's it.
Okay.
An extension.
Okay.
Yep. I'll make a motion to accept the contract amendment number 2 from Central Mass Regional Planning Commission.
Second,
All in favor?
Rich Ihacker, aye.
Derek Bellis, aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. We'll sign the contract. Sign.
Thank you.
Do you want me to leave it in here? Or
No,
give
you
it to
can take it out later.
Alright. It's so efficient. Loving it. All right. Appoint Karen Kelly Garay, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is for election work in the polling place A, term to expire in December 31st, 2022. Okay. Do you have any issues with appointing her?
No.
Do you have any issues with appointing her?
I don't know her, but I have no issues.
Okay. Any concerns? No? Okay.
Motion to appoint Carrie Karen Kelly Garay as an election worker in polling place A with her term to expire on December 31st, 2022.
Second?
All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. Karen Kelly Garay is appointed as a election worker for polling place A. Okay. Was there a signed thing?
No, I didn't get to that.
Okay. All right. All right, streetlight contract.
Speaking of,
Mr. Gillespie isn't here, you might wanna skip that one.
No.
Okay, we'll skip
Hopefully
that
we can
one.
come back to it, if he doesn't care.
So the omnibus discussion then. We'll skip the streetlight contract, come back to it when Mr. Jim Dusty comes in to get more insight on the streetlight contract. So we'll go to the omnibus discussion. Okay. I know there was some changes, right?
Park.
What articles, folks? The 5?
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
with regards to the omnibus, this is the latest document that's been updated by FinCom. FinCom met this Tuesday, reviewed the omnibus budget with a modification with regards to the Parks Department. There was a position because some of the services from the Parks Department was going to be moving over to the Highway Department. Parks inadvertently forgot to budget for the positions of the summer youth work program that the town sponsors at Dean Park. That's about a $12,000 program that is run by Parks. That is now reflected into the omnibus budget. Sue Ramsey from the Parks Department had called me on Tuesday. She was able to put together a brief budget of the summer program, the importance of the program. I guess youth have already contacted her with regards to opportunities this summer. This is separate from Cummins Pond. This is totally different from Cummins Pond because Cummins Pond is closed this summer. This is just in relationship to Dean Park and some activities that Parks put on during the summer. This would host for a supervisor's position 4 to 5 workers and would cover the costs of running that for the summer. So FinCom was made aware of this. FinCom approved the budget and ultimately approved the omnibus budget in its entirety on Tuesday night.
Okay, very good. Okay. Did you have any questions? You good?
Yeah, I'm good with the budget.
Do you have any questions? Are you good?
I feel okay, sir.
We don't have a number for the school. All we can approve is the budget without the school number.
So there was some discussion with FinCom later in the week. One of the representatives from FinCom had contacted me with regards to the omnibus budget. However, it wasn't a vote of FinCom to put a figure in, but FinCom was suggesting that maybe the board might want to consider putting a figure in as opposed to letting a figure be put in on the floor of town meeting. It's totally up to the board in terms of if they wanted to put a figure in. I know last year's budget was $429 for the schools for the above minimum. I called West Brookfield town offices today, spoke with Becky over there, just to try to gauge any updates from West Brookfield as in terms of where they are in the process, the advisory come up with a number, are they figuring anything out in terms of where they want to be position-wise? She wasn't sure exactly what figure they were thinking of. At best, they were looking at that same figure that they were dealing with last fiscal year, at best, but still kind of fluid situation.
So they're not gonna give, they're most likely not gonna give any more than they did last year. I mean,
That's the direction in which
the direction, yeah.
that she conveyed to me,
Okay.
at best.
Right, so it's there or down.
So, my,
And
my,
what-
my thinking is I honestly think we should leave the number open and allow the school board to present their number. And that would give them the opportunity to defend why they need that specific amount. And it would also give them, because if we turn around and say, give them $1 million, and they only need 200,000 above minimum, they can present the number more accurately, closer to the meeting than we could right now. I know they're asking for quite a bit of money, but ultimately, it's up to the town to approve that amount. And ultimately, it's up to the school and the school board to identify what that number is that they're going for and to defend that. It's their budget. And, we have a mandatory amount that we have to, provide, but above minimum, it's kind of a fluid number, and I think it's probably best to let them put that number to vote.
Madeline did say one thing today. She said that what we put, they have to match our percentage.
Mhm.
So if we go high, but West Brookfield can't afford to go high,
They go lower, then they gotta go down to the percentage, because we have the 60-40 split. So if West Brookfield says we ain't doing anything above minimum, and they vote on that, then we have to kinda lower our numbers to do that. So it's really up to them to ensure that West Brookfield does whatever they put on also. Ultimately, it's up to the school and to defend their budget. And I think us putting a number is just arbitrary. We're just filling in a number, and it might not be the true number that they actually need.
That's just what I
Is it-
mentioned. I think it's a really hard process to everything,
It is.
because even our town meeting is before West Brookfield.
Yeah.
So even if Warren approves everything and then West Brookfield doesn't,
It could be lower. We can go in there and, what were they originally asking for, like ultimately $1.6 million or something like that?
they raised
More now? How much are they asking for now?
1.78.
That was always the original figure. I think it was like 1.7, and then it went down to 1.2, and then there was discussions of about $1 million. So it's been going back and forth.
It's a fluid amount, we just
Yeah.
don't know. And, I think us just filling in the number
Mhm.
kind of misleads the residents, because it makes it sound like, yes, this is what we're supporting,
Mhm.
when we really don't know.
Mhm.
We don't know their number. And when they get closer to town meeting, they should have better numbers, and it's really up to them to present that.
Yeah, I guess the concern was, and what was talked about was, or the rationale behind it was, if the board was to set a figure or to level fund them, then, that's the figure. I mean, I guess it could be modified on the floor, but, if they were to come in at a $1 million figure and it was to pass, that would have serious implications to our budget.
And everybody from the town will have to be made aware of those, the situation. Because again, approving a budget that high would definitely make the tax rate go up.
Well, significantly.
And it would go up, and I agree, significantly. If the residents vote to do that and they want their tax rate to go up, it's ultimately up to the voters. I highly suggest everybody get into the town meeting and present your case, whether you oppose it or approve it. If you want the school to have $1.78 million, or you want them to have nothing above minimum, just what they need to do to function, that's ultimately up to the voters. I know it kind of, the school really has to present that. And whatever the voters decide to do, we gotta support. And, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that either, or you guys, but I think arbitrarily just filling in a number saying 500,000, it really doesn't mean anything in the end. And I think it gives the residents a false sense of, hey, we're gonna support this 500,000. Because West Brookfield might turn around and say, well, we're not doing anything above minimum. We're level funding. And that number's gonna go dramatically down now, because we're not approved, that's not the actual number anymore. I think the best option is to have the school present their case. And if they turn around and say $1.78 million right off the bat, I think that's a bad move for them, because I think a lot of people are gonna be like revolting at that point and outraged with that number. But if that's what the number they wanna go with, and they feel comfortable with, and the residents all vote for it. Not that I want to vote for it, because I pay taxes here too.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts, Rich?
I'm okay with that. I guess the only advantage to putting a number down is it would be a limit. Because once you put a number on the warrant, you can't go over it. So, if we put 200 on, there's no way that they could do a 1.7 million. So it would be like a lid. But then what is the number that we would pick? And unless we're gonna do 0 over minimum, if we're thinking of 0 over minimum, then I would say put it on there. But other than that,
And the problem is, we don't know. We don't know what the number is that they really need for it, because there was mentioned 500,000, we need at least 500,000, or we're gonna have to lay off 20 plus teachers. I don't know. When they start getting closer to that date, they might turn around and say, well, no, we actually only need 300,000.
yeah.
They know those numbers. I hate to be in this situation. That's why, I kind of agree with, it would be nice to be able to move the meetings to where they actually have a solid understanding of what they need for a budget. So we can come in and say, okay, let's look at this, and this is how much we gotta provide. But right now, it's a guessing game, and they may get additional funding somewhere else that drops that number. Probably not this late in the game, but you'd hope they know everything.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanna, be clear that we drive this, we drive this boat, but we don't dictate what's gonna happen with, this number or that number. We just facilitate and try to make this budget work the best way possible. It's the residents who decide what to do at the end. So, if we can leave that number open, if we see something that it will benefit the town by putting a number now, we could, but we don't, none, the three of us, we have to be partial to everything at this point, because there's no misunderstanding with the people of what we want. It's the school who's proposing a budget, and the people are gonna vote for it.
I think our best option is, I know, Jim, you got a lot to work with, but identify what the tax rate would be, how it would have to go up to facilitate what we got so far, to include $1.7 million for the school, or 800,000, 500,000. If you could do something like that, kind of give it a breakdown for the residents, so they know what they're getting into. If they want to enter into that and say, yes, I don't care if my tax rate goes up to 28%, just throw in numbers. But if they say, yeah, we want this, we want to do this, it's the voters. I highly don't recommend that. But
Sir, and
yes, sir.
that's why it's so important for the residents to go to the town meeting. It's very
You have to
important, so
go.
they can, they can see the process, they can vote, and they can decide what's gonna happen. It's not us, we're not deciding what's gonna happen to the future of Warren, it's the residents. So everybody out there listening or watching, go to the town meeting, please.
That's why we did it on a Saturday, right?
We did it for a Saturday to help.
May 14th, 11:30.
Doing it in the afternoon, so more people can come. We're trying to make it as convenient as possible for everybody to be able to attend it, so people don't have to get out of work, so people don't have to stay really late, because the meetings were getting ridiculous. It was getting pretty bad. Meetings were getting over 11, 12 o'clock at night. And you gotta remember, all the town employees are still doing all their stuff. They gotta break everything down and put everything away too. And the school gotta deal with everything. There was a lot. And a lot of people, if you watch the audience, and you see, after they got their key article that they wanted to vote on, half of everybody leaves. And then you got all these other things that need to be voted on, but because the one thing that interested them was done, and they all left. Because I gotta get up in the morning, I gotta go to work, and this and that, and people don't wanna stay for all the other daily stuff that goes on that needs to be voted on. So we're not getting a full understanding for everybody, because where we would have 100 people in the audience, now all of a sudden we get 20 voting on really important things for the town. And that hurts, Yes, Joe?
Well, it should be noted,
Just, for everybody, just identify yourself.
Joseph Contract,
Okay.
it should be noted that when a school budget is finalized and voted on, that figure this year will become the minimum next year.
Yes.
Yeah,
So if
It goes up and up and up.
Goes
yes,
up
it always goes up,
Yeah.
so.
If it goes up 1.7 billion.
The
then that's where
taxpayers
we
have to
start.
think about that, because you're adding money, your tax rate's gonna increase, even if it's only $1 or 1,000. But next year, it might be another $1, another $1.
Yeah. And that is very important to understand also.
And then when the state tells you well, you gotta revalue your entire town, it's a double whammy.
Yep. So that's why we gotta be careful and invest in where we need to invest in. You know, the schools are really important. We have great schools. I love the schools. My kids go to the schools. I highly support the schools. The teachers are amazing. Our teachers do an awesome job. They absolutely deserve more money, okay? I will absolutely support them on that. But we have to do it within constraints of our town and what the town can afford and do at a certain time. And the school budget is one of those budgets that's, I think it's overly complicated for what it is. It could be much more simplified. I think we've seen, 3 or 4 different versions of the school budget now in different formats. It's like, each time we look at it, it's formatted differently, and you gotta figure it out. And if you're not sitting there working those numbers, or you got an accounting background or something, a lot of this doesn't make sense. So when you sit there and you're looking at it, you're like, okay, now I got a lot more questions now. It really just needs to be put into layman's terms so everybody can understand it, and go down and say, English department, 300,000. That's it. Your English department at the high school is 300,000 to fund it. And whatever they get. Same thing, facilities management, what they got in their amount, how much they're requesting and how much they actually spend. You know, kind of in the booklet, but to find out, those aren't accurate numbers either. You know, so it's a complicated situation with their budget.
Sir,
Yes.
I just want to add that, speaking of the schools, we do have one-of-a-kind school system.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. I've been traveling all around the world. I know about schools. I spent 7 years designing schools. I know what we have is really, really good. So it's a plus for us. But also, today I got an email from the Boston Globe saying, what's the wealthiest town in Massachusetts? So it caught my attention because there's a little map. So it looks like the darker are the most wealthiest, but guess what? Which one is the lightest? We can see it on the map over there. So we also have, we struggle with the budget. So it's something to keep in mind too.
Yeah. You know, our entire town budget is, less than $10 million, around that. And school's taking half the budget right off the bat, more than half. And that's only one thing in our town. We still have fire, police, highway, sewer department. We have employees within the municipal building. We have seasonal hires, whether it's for plowing during the winter or summer help in the parks during the summer and spring. There's a lot of other people that need money too. So being able to disperse that in a fair way is quite challenging sometimes. So we leave it open for the school?
Yeah, that's fine.
It's okay with me.
Jim, what do you think?
Sure. And just also to bring to the board's attention, you're already, the state minimum also went up, from last year to this year. So the state's minimum contribution increased by $100,000. That's Warren already had to absorb that minimum of $100,000. And then the school transportation costs went up $325,000. So from last year to this year, so we already had to absorb that too. So you're almost at $500,000 just right there in increases. So I mean this 1.6, 1.7 number, anything over $1 million, we're gonna have to be very cautious, because, now you're talking about, Proposition 2.5, and I don't think anybody wants to talk about that. So,
And I'd be very surprised if the school turned around and presented that type of number, knowing what it could trigger, and the reaction that they would most likely get from the residents. Because they already are one of the biggest battled budgets. Everybody, when it comes to school budget, everybody's going back and forth with it, wanting to know things, and I really feel bad for Brett in the town meetings, because he gets beat up. He gets beat up by the school committee, he gets beat up by the teachers, he gets beat up by the town residents, gets beat up by us. He gets it from every angle, because it's a lot of money. The teachers want more money, the town wants to give less money. And it has to be a happy minimum, happy medium. So.
Well, so I'll say, last year's meeting went very smoothly. They came in with a modest
Yes.
increase, and it was
It
smooth
was very
as silk.
realistic.
Yep, so if they can do that this year,
It'd be great to have a repeat of last year's meeting, because, again, I think we were all so surprised that that meeting went so quickly and so smoothly, and everything pretty much everything got voted on, and approved. There was just a couple things that were turned down, and, so be it, we can live with that, we'll make do. But there was no real animosity, which is great. The residents had legit questions, and it wasn't like fired up anger, because I've seen residents yelling, like red-faced yelling, because they were so upset and so mad what's going on. And last year, I think everybody was really surprised. We would love to have a repeat of that again.
Yep.
It'd be great. So, all right.
well, I'll make a motion.
Well, you guys have any questions? Do you have anything to add? Anything?
No, sir.
Anything to add?
No?
Okay, all right, let's move forward.
All right, so I'm gonna make a motion to accept the omnibus budget without a school above minimum contribution.
Second?
Hold up.
Excluding,
We wanna be careful how we say that, because we don't wanna say we're not giving them,
you didn't give me the motion, okay.
um,
Okay, how about this?
without identifying a minimum contribution,
Okay, so I'll make a motion to accept the omnibus budget
right?
that does not identify a minimum contribution number from the school.
Second?
All in favor?
Rich Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes, and the omnibus is approved as amended. Okay. Okay. Mr. Dusty, are you available
I am.
to do your part?
Sure.
Okay, do you wanna,
Yeah, I'll be happy to.
we can go back to the streetlight contract?
Okay.
Jim Dusty, custodian for the town of Warren. The street light contract, been reviewing this for quite a while. It was, the last company that we had a contract with was a company called Tanco. And as far as I can see on the paperwork I have, the contract actually had expired in the end of 2020. And they had submitted a new contract with some revisions and increases in their fees. But that contract was never renewed, never signed by the select board. In the meantime, from what I gather, because I took on this project halfway through, There were streetlights that hadn't been repaired for quite some time. And National Grid had been making inquiries about when they were gonna be repaired, so it was decided to reach out to see what other companies would be interested in assuming this responsibility in a contract for 1 year. The scope of work had been sent out. I put it together based upon what the prior Tanco company had for provisions in their scope, and I also reviewed our existing, the last contract that we had that has been expired, and put out a scope of work, and ended up with 3 companies, electrical contractors, that expressed an interest based on review of the scope of work. I sent them detailed information on what the requirements would be, both for the town and also National Grid. National Grid has certain standards that the companies have to go by regarding OSHA requirements and then safety issues. Of the 3 contractors that I contacted, after reviewing it thoroughly, 2 of them opted out. They said they didn't have the qualifications for the bucket lift. That a requirement was the contractor had to have a bucket lift available. And one of them had a bucket lift but didn't meet the OSHA requirements. The other one has a bucket lift and he met all the requirements. And the third one had a smaller lift and didn't meet the requirements. And they're all very well-known local companies that expressed an interest. The one company that did came in at an hourly rate for different scenarios, but it was overall, it was slightly less than the past contract that we had with Tanco. And then going forward, Tanco gave some pricing on 2023 and 2024, and it was much higher. And I'd sent you an email a few days ago, all of the board, and Mr. Ferrara, just to review what I'm telling you now, and letting the townspeople know that the one company that I'm recommending is local. They're well known, they've done work for the town before in the past. Tanco, on the other hand, is headquartered out in California. From what I can tell, they haven't been very responsive to the town knowing what we had for inventory, parts inventory. We don't know right now, for example, if there's any inventory at all left from the Tanco contract. They, in fact, subcontracted their work for the town to other companies. So what I've been able to gather is the parts that we did have were in the possession of some other companies, but we don't even know who they are. So I don't think we're gonna get much out of it by pursuing it, but the company that I'm recommending knows exactly what we need for components to have on standby, and then he knows where to get the items that are needed that we don't have to keep an inventory on. It's a question of who pays for that. If the contractor bought the inventory, he'd mark it up. If we have an account with the supplier, it's no markup, and there's a tax-free exemption on it too. So I'm suggesting that if we hire, whoever we hire, part of the contract would require them giving us a list of the items that we don't have on hand, so that we'll have them in the future. I'd say at least a year's supply.
Do a stockpile of
Correct.
supplies.
Yeah, and then the other question would be where we would house that inventory, and that's something I'm sure we can figure that out. There are several options.
Don't we store the stuff at the highway department, or is there?
Yeah, at one time. At present, there's nothing there. I talked with Jeremy Olson, they don't have anything, but I can't speak for him, but at one time, they did store some items there. So I can speak with him about it and see if there's a place where we can centralize the
Yeah,
files.
or identify if we could still store stuff over at the highway department, you know, for this.
Right. There's one pole in particular, it's up off Southwood Street, just beyond Bemis. The National Grid would like to address that. And, you know, we need a contract first. We have a scope of work that really defines the substance of the contract, but if we approve who I'm gonna recommend, the next step would be put a contract together, have you folks review it, and then get going on it.
Now, all the lights that they're putting in would be LED lights?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah, we'll make sure anything new that goes in is all LED.
Right, yeah, and we had a conversation about that, with regard to the LED streetlight maintenance services, that would be in the contract. So,
Do you have anything else, sir?
not with regard to the lights, there was another item on the agenda, I believe, though.
We already took care of that.
Oh, you did, okay, good, yeah. Yeah, I think that was just an oversight on the part of the wastewater treatment plant, we already had a contract, there was no need for another one
Yeah,
authorized by
we
them.
voted to, remove Bigelow.
Yeah.
We would just go with power supply.
Right, and whatever we had with power supply, Bigelow just had that one contract with the wastewater treatment plant, signed by someone at the wastewater treatment plant, but not authorized by the town, so,
Yeah.
and you, I guess you know that now, yeah.
So, they're no longer, Bigelow is no longer there now.
Okay,
So.
are they receiving a notification?
Yes, I will contact them tomorrow along with Zach as well, to
Okay,
notify Zach not to call Bigelow anymore.
Okay.
I mean, they do have some bills that were done previous, last month, bills that have to get paid. But moving forward from this date, because of the board's action, they will,
So we'll pay those bills.
Yep.
yeah, and we had a meeting with Zach a few days ago, and he's on board with who we have now, and if there's ever an issue, he knows how to get a hold of those people. So they've already contacted them anyway in the past, letting them know that work was gonna be done. So, getting back to the light pole, I made a recommendation in writing, did you wanna act on that, as far as the contract? Or do you wanna review it?
Let's talk. Again, Tanko, we have to get away from them, that's a no-brainer. We haven't been getting the service that we've been asking for. They kind of not happy with them dragging their feet with the street light that was supposed to be added over by the Warren Spa.
Yeah, they didn't wanna do it unless we signed a contract.
Right, they were kind of holding us hostage with that, saying, well, we're not gonna do this unless you give us a new contract. And I didn't like the fact that they did that, after they agreed to do it. And supposedly they ordered the parts, or they were ordering the parts,
We have them,
they have the parts. We didn't get billed for them, did we?
we already paid the bill.
So they got our parts for that. So
Yeah.
we need to get those parts from them, whoever has them, because if not, and we paid a bill and we didn't receive a services for those parts,
You either need the money back or the parts.
Well, the fiscal
Yeah.
year, last fiscal year that they billed, they billed out almost $8,000 in services, and I have no idea where that money was applied to, but.
I think they did repair some lights. They replaced the bulbs or whatever, because there was several of them. We had a long list of street lights that were out.
Right,
And I believe a majority or all of those got fixed, except for the one being added by the Warren Spa.
okay.
That's the only thing we were holding off on. So yeah, we need to identify where that money is, or our parts.
Yeah,
Either or, we need to get.
Yeah, yeah.
okay, and I guess we
So-
can't take any more action on getting them fixed until we have a contract with someone,
So,
so.
Jim,
Mm-hmm.
can you, work on that?
Mhm.
And identify where those parts are?
Sure, yeah.
And if they refuse to cooperate,
Mhm.
I would notify legal,
Sure.
and
Well, parts or the money,
parts of the money,
either one is good.
so.
Jim, would you be able to give me that background information?
Oh, sure,
Okay.
be happy to, yeah. It'll be in tomorrow, like, this is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then, so Tanko, I'm not impressed with, again, and their prices are going up. Their company is out of California, and they're subcontracting everything, which, again, we don't know who's doing the work, because.
We don't know who's holding inventory.
We call, we get Tanko, and Tanko does whatever they do. They do like to bill us.
Well, there's another
They got
level
that
of
down.
markup with them, you know, if they're subbing it out, which
Yeah.
stands to reason. Yeah.
So cut out that middleman,
Yeah.
deal with somebody local.
Mhm.
You know, I'm always gonna support somebody local.
So,
Yeah.
where is Shepherdson from?
Wilbraham, Palmer, he's got offices
Okay.
up that way.
All right.
He's been in the building several times. He was here today, as a matter of fact, doing some work.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Anything else?
No, I'm good with it.
Do you have any questions, sir?
Not really, my only comment is how come if we are using LEDs and they go bad, LEDs don't go bad? There's something going on.
Water could be getting in, intruding in, heat, you know, whatever, there's numerous things that could go wrong with them.
The promise of LEDs is not the reality by any stretch.
Yeah, but when we voted, we had that warranty that they were LEDs and this and that.
Well, we don't even know who installed them, actually, so we
Yeah.
had no
I understand.
means of monitoring the quality of their work or anything.
Yeah. It could have been a different sub every time,
Yeah.
right?
And we don't even know who they
Yeah,
were.
it's a good thing that we're starting from zero and just have it right.
Mr. Chairman, a lot of it wasn't even LED issues. Some of them, a lot of these that they had to repair or were gonna repair were actually taken out by car accidents and stuff. So anytime we had a car accident, took out a
That
pole,
makes a
took
lot
one
of
down,
sense.
we would notify dispatch and get on that list. So a
Yeah.
lot of them, it wasn't actually, an error with the machinery or anything like that. It was caused by a tree down on the wires or a car accident.
Yeah, I think the one on Southbridge Street near Demus was from a tree falling on it. Yeah.
That was
so,
most of what was happening.
Yeah,
Well, we did identify a lot of them that were just out too.
Yeah,
We gave the poll numbers and where they were located and stuff,
Yeah.
so. And to be honest, they got fixed, but I don't know what they actually fixed in them, you know?
Well, we don't even know the quality of the parts they're using, right?
Right.
Or, where they're coming from, so.
So, it's good to have somebody local that you can just identify and
Yeah.
you see a face, you know,
right. Well,
it's,
it's also, it was
it's
in.
so-and-so each time that
Right.
comes, you
Yeah.
know?
And it was in Tanco's contract that they were supposed to report in every activity they had, let us know what the inventories were that they used, and as far as I found no documentation on any of that, and that won't be the case with this person, or whoever it is you approve. I think it should be this person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
Nope.
No, sir.
Any questions? Okay. Jim?
No.
You ready?
Yep. I'll make a motion to enter into an agreement with Shepherdson Electrical Contractors to maintain the town's streetlights.
Second?
That's your recommendation, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
All in favor?
Rich Ihacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes. We'll enter into contract negotiations with Shepherdson.
Very good.
Very good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
For now.
You're doing an awesome job, Jim.
I think everyone is here, so.
Okay. So you're up.
All right.
Not you're up, but you're up.
Yeah. I will make a motion to pay the following warrants and bills. Warrant number 85 payroll for $41,925.75. Number 86 vendor for $116,941.94. Number 87 payroll for $41,883.63.
Yes, minor.
Number 88 vendor for $33,916.57. The following bills: Northeast IT, two of them, one for $1,165 and the other for $99. BEC for $726.10. B&G Mechanical for $536. Easy True Value for $8.76. And Karen Dusty for $143.72. That's my motion. I need a second.
Second.
What's
Discussion?
you on there for?
it is for when we got the carpet for Jim, Lowe's sold us
neighbors.
one that wasn't commercial, so we had to go back and do another one. So that's the biggest part of it, and the other part is mailing a certificate, a certified letter out this week.
Okay.
And,
Pads for chairs and desks?
yeah, the pads for all the chairs and the desk in our new office. You know, the little cushy pads, so they don't scratch my new floor.
Right.
All right, good. All right, you seconded it? All in favor?
Rich Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes. The bills and warrants will be paid. Okay, minutes. Okay, you had some changes, you made those, right?
Yep.
I think
assume
there
they're
was,
in there?
They are.
there was one change that I had that Rich didn't catch.
What? It's not.
I know, now I gotta find where it is, because I wanna point this out, because I know you skipped it, and I'm like, what was I looking at? It was,
I do see another one.
Oh, come on.
what
It's
was it?
not tied in bond, it's
Tie
tie
in
in
bond.
bond. Tighe, and I think it's an ampersand.
Okay. Cemetery. So, on the March 31st one, under the landfill, you put, take care of a very step banking.
Steve. Got it.
Ah, good job.
Oh, you can step it up.
I got one that Rich didn't get before me. All right,
Okay. I will make those two corrections.
and I think that was it. Did you have any more?
No.
All right, did you have any
No, sir.
comments, corrections?
Nope.
All right, so I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from March 24th, 2022, the 4 PM meeting. March 24th, it should say 2022, 6 PM meeting, and the March 31st regular selectmen meeting.
Oh, you did get that one, yeah.
Second?
All in favor?
Rich,
Oh, you did say with changes?
with, yeah, as amended.
As amended.
Second?
All in favor?
Rich Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes. The minutes are approved as amended. All right. New business. You guys have any new business?
No, I don't think so.
No, sir.
Derek? Karen, did you have anything that we needed? No? Jim?
Just in my report.
Just-
Yeah.
We got your town administrator
Mhm,
report.
mhm.
Okay. All right. Old business, ARPA.
Okay. I was gonna include that in my report as well.
Do you want to wait for that then? Or
Um,
you ready to go right into your report?
Sure, if you don't mind.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's include that in your report.
Okay.
Do you guys have any old business?
Old business, no.
No, sir.
No? No.
Oh,
Trying to think.
well, I did, okay, I got a proposal on office,
It's in,
Training.
it is under
did everybody get it?
comments,
Oh, yeah.
comments and concerns.
Oh, what, under comments? Okay. Okay, so we can deal with that later. Isn't that old business though?
It was, but I didn't put it down there, so I put it under comments and concerns because it was an email sent to us.
Okay,
Correspondence, comments and concerns, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
all right.
I
We'll
have
deal
no
with
old
that.
business.
Okay.
All right, so, town administrator report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, members of the board. Good evening, the citizens of Warren and the members of the audience. I have a couple of items in the report to report back to the board on. Some are general housekeeping items. Others are things that had transpired during the week. Today, myself and Jim Dusty met with the Paul Atharian from the Trial Court Community Service Program, and they have agreed to volunteer their services on April 29th, which is a Friday, to have and provide free labor to the town to clean out any areas of extra stuff that needs to be disposed of in terms of the dumpster. I know that some of our hallways, especially upstairs, there's some general housekeeping that needs to be taken care of. Some old monitors, some old scrap metal, and there's some items in terms of that are non-functioning school desks that are not of any use. That Jim has indicated that he would like to get some help to clean this up, and this program would provide for the town to have free labor come in to do that. So what I was hoping to look for tonight from the board is authorization to send out a memo to all town departments saying that there's going to be like a kind of like a spring cleanup availability next week. So if any department that has stuff that they want to get rid of in this building, just concentrating the efforts in this building, to leave it outside of their door on Thursday night. So on Friday, when the crews were to come in, Jim is going to get another dumpster available that they can just throw it right into the dumpster.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
I'm good.
excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Do it.
All right. So that's a spring cleanup on Friday.
Just one thing with that, just make sure we're not throwing anything historical away.
Okay.
That we're preserving those items,
Mhm.
and like monitors aren't going into the dumpster,
Mhm.
because that's electronic waste, and we have to dispose of it properly. So we just wanna make sure that we're disposing of everything properly.
Okay.
And I know Jim's on top of that, but
Yeah.
I know
So
sometimes guys get all gung-ho and they just grab everything and throw it in there, but we
Mhm.
don't wanna be getting fined or anything like
You're
that,
right.
to throw it away in there.
Yeah.
yeah. There was talk of about of trying to put some items like the brown benches, the historical brown benches, and some historical books that I know that Jim had showed me in the other room into the last room on the second floor, just for storage as of right now until to determine whether or not what the use of that last office will be used for. So along with that, next item was just kind of giving the board an update on Cornerstone Bank in the situation that's going on over there. I know that a few of the members had contacted the Division of Banks along with the president of Cornerstone Bank, so I appreciate and I really thank the members for doing that. Although it may or may not work in our favor, at least the town is on record as fighting for, to allow to have that, a bank availability for its town and its citizens. So I did have a conversation with Mr. Tallman, the president, on Friday. I know, Mr. Chairman, you had a conversation with him as well. The bank is currently pending for, to be released from the town. It's up to the Division of Banks right now. They're going to be making their decision, I guess, within the next week or two, probably by the end of the month. I know that myself, I know Rich has also reached out to Attorney Cunningham, as well as the chairman, with regards to trying to, put together some thoughts and ideas as to why we feel it would be a detriment to the community. So we are fighting, or we're trying to do that as best we can. I did also send a letter out to Mr. Tallman, because in the conversation that I had with him on the 15th of April, he had indicated that that the bank may be willing to maintain somewhat of a presence in town, whether it be an ATM or somewhat. He's open to discussion of that. So I think, if we can have a meeting with him maybe in the future, it may be, beneficial for the town to look into that. So that was just kind of an update, brief update on Cornerstone Bank. I also want to remind the board, we do have a new employee coming on in the sewer department starting on Monday. Devon is going to be starting on Monday. He's going to be reporting to Zach at 7 in the morning on the 25th. So that's exciting news, and we welcome Devon to the organization. Also, I wanted to bring to the board, there has been discussion. May 1st is coming up. With that brings the authorization or the allowance to do line item transfers. And that period runs from May 1st to July 15th. It was discussed briefly at FinCom on Tuesday night that, their availability to meet, to make recommendations on line item transfers and for you guys to review them. Maybe FinCom's portion may be limited because after of annual town meeting, they may be on a limited basis. With that, I was just thinking to the future as to getting that process streamlined and coordinating that process so that we don't have multiple departments getting backed up or in a real tight position with getting those line item transfers approved and tunneled through the process. So I was wanted to get some guidance from the board, Mr. Chairman, if they felt that the board, if the board felt that it would maybe maybe work in favor of the process to try to streamline it, that I could coordinate that through the departments and get it over to FinCom and then get it to you guys. I don't know what your thoughts or your feelings are on that.
No, I think it's a good idea. It'd be great to be able to get FinCom's review, and then once we know they're good with it, and then you bring it to us and have us do our thing, get it presented, and we sign off on it. I think that's a good option to do, and I think, you should definitely lead that and help that.
So is
It's
it
gonna be like the first step.
right? So would that, if with the board's authorization, I would ask the board if it was okay if I could send out a memo with regards to filling. There's a pre-generated slip to fill out a line item transfer. It's a form that form be sent to our office, my office, so that I can coordinate that and get that process through the channels, if that's
I have
okay?
that for you.
Okay, yeah,
Yep, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Me too.
okay,
You're good?
all right,
Approved.
thank you. I received a report this week from Don Swistak, our treasurer, with regards to a couple receipts of funds that were deposited into the organization's account. Two in particular, we received on April 18th, $7,000 as in conjunction with the MVP grant, the Municipal Vulnerabilities Preparedness Grant. That there was some monies that were put into the account of $7,000. Also on the same day, there was a deposit of $1,093,733 as part of the ARPA municipal emergency disaster relief. So that was.
Is this new ARPA money?
Yep.
So this is some new funds that were deposited on the 18th. So that's some exciting news.
Very much so.
We do not have the exact parameters as of yet for the use.
Once we identify that, then we can start looking at
Right.
allocating money, but we don't want to get ahead of it
Right.
and hand out money yet.
So, and again, I think Mr. Chairman is absolutely correct with that, because we are definitely going to get audited on both ARPA, the first ARPA round, and the second ARPA round. So we want to make sure those uses are up to snuff and up to date. But that's some exciting news that I
Very much
did
so.
receive from Don this week.
Wow, very good.
Which then brings into current ARPA funds. So I had a discussion this week with Karen, who's been really working hard to put together the reporting aspect of our ARPA stuff by the end of the month. And, you know, the board's has some additional funds on how they want to allocate them, and how they want to look at them. I did want to re-engage with Brendan Sweeney on some of the other stuff. I know he's a real busy guy with regards to the use of federal funds and trying to pin him down on private water districts that are nonprofit, that have municipal-owned infrastructure. I would just be very cautious of that, because I don't have a straight answer as to whether or not we could allow that. And if we were, and when we do get audited, if we don't, you know, if it's not allowed, I would,
Pay it back.
yes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And I think it's one of those, it's tough, because when we have, it's a private water district. They're supposed to be operating on their own, and we can't tell them what to do. We have no say in how they do that stuff. It's kind of a, I understand that's the way they needed to do back in the day, but the system's flawed.
Yeah.
And it really, the water districts really need to be brought under DPW by the town, brought under the town. We have a public works directorate handling sewer department, highway, and water, and everything is controlled by the residents. The budgets, how everything's done, and we could have a firm plan and have everything move hand in hand with each other. So when highway is doing a project, we got sewer department there, we got, you know, water department. So if they need to lay new pipes, everybody's on board to do it together, because we understand these projects and they're forecasted out. It's kind of difficult doing that right now.
I think the real killer is the fact that the water districts own the infrastructure.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
If the town owned it and they ran it, it's almost like we hired them to run our
Right.
water, we would be in a different position, but it's completely
It's
outside
completely
of
them.
the town.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so, yeah, it's very disappointing, but I mean, it is what it is.
You know,
It was high hopes.
it really bothers me when you have residents putting videos on Facebook and showing you the water that's coming out of their drains, and the stuff looks like coffee coming out of the drains. And I understand water department saying, well, that's only happening during flushing, but you got residents saying that it's year round. It's all the time. That's always what their water looks like. And that's very concerning.
Well, I think if we had a DPW system, we'd be better able to manage the money, and we could take care of things differently potentially.
Yes.
The water district has to work within even more rigid confines of a budget than I think the town does, because they have their user base.
That's all their money, is the
And that's
user
all
base.
their money. They can't pull from other pockets or get it, you
And
know,
they don't want-
money like this or a grant.
They don't wanna raise the rates to be able to invest in the infrastructure, so
Yeah.
it's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Either you charge the individuals within your water district a lot more and put and reinvest in the infrastructure to provide the the quality service, or you don't do that, and you're always underwater, literally. You're always trying to just patch things together.
And
you
even
can't do
so,
that.
I think they sort of have their own kind of version of a levy limit, like they just can't raise it
Right.
$2 million 1 year. They have constraints that they have to live within
But
in
it's-
terms
it's-
of raising rates even.
And we really can't help them either,
No.
because they're private.
No.
Where in the town, we could sit there and say, okay, let's put an article forward, raise or appropriate money, and get funding we're gonna run new water lines going down Main Street. How much is that project gonna cost? Okay, we're gonna raise and appropriate the money. Here we go.
Yeah.
And get that money to put the water lines in.
Yeah.
They can't do that. It's just a flawed system now.
I mean, they have got grants, they did get a grant for the treatment plant, and so they have worked on stuff like that, but I think it
Well,
would
that's not a
have
grant.
more, well, it's a loan and a grant.
It's a low interest rate from USDA.
Well, it's
It's-
60/40.
Yeah.
So they got, but that's what USDA
Yeah.
does. That's the only way they structure it, so,
But it's cost some money still.
It is,
They still gotta
yeah.
pay for it,
yeah.
so.
So there's, in the first round of ARPA, you still, so if you were to take the Warren Water District out of that equation, you still have a little over $100,000 that needs to be allocated. And you have some West Warren Water District materials for water lines as well. So you still have some funds that need to be allocated that the board is going to have to make a determination on.
So,
Do we have projects in the queue that can
Well,
utilize that qualify?
the grit screw. We now have the money to pay, so we gotta pay for this engineering, the consulting to get it designed and stuff, and then we could pay for the grit screw, or at least put some money towards it. So, we all saw that thing, and it needs to be replaced.
Well, the sewer department needs a lot of work down there too.
Um,
And this qualifies because it is within the sewer
Sewer infrastructure.
infrastructure.
Right, water, sewer, and broadband, so this
Yeah.
would qualify. And then we own the sewer department.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
there we are.
There's no, I think that's a wise, and once we invest that much, how much do we have left? Do we have any?
So in the Warren Water District, you have 104,337, and then you also have was a little over 10, almost 11,000 in materials, is it?
I don't know, there's no number there.
No, there is no number there.
There was no number?
We took that money
I
away.
took it out. Okay.
What was
So
it?
it says the 104.
Hmm.
It went to help pay for the radios. in order to
Yeah,
get
but
the
no,
radio.
but for the sewer department, how much is it gonna be?
Oh, they
we
were
don't know that
estimating
yet.
about 125, but we don't know. So we could put the 104 towards that, and then maybe the second round, we could fund the rest of it.
Then you also, depending upon how much your master plan comes in.
Yeah, we should
We
have
might
some
have
left
some more
over.
on that too.
There's no way that that's gonna come in that high.
So I think between those two, you probably have enough.
Yeah.
We didn't get a response back from the EDA yet, huh?
No.
Oh, but that could be a while.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's allocate it to the grit screw.
Okay.
And then we
Do a
should be,
motion on it?
yeah, okay, so I'll make a motion to allocate the remaining amount of ARPA money that was used for the water districts to be applied to the grit screw at the sewer department.
Second,
All in favor?
Rich Ihacker, aye.
Derek Bellis, aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. The remaining balance of the ARPA funds will be reallocated to the SWAT department for the grid screw and they're also doing a engineering report
Yeah.
in the
That
engineering.
we've already funded.
Okay.
Oh, and tied and bond. Tied
Yeah.
and bond.
I'll fix it.
Okay, so, Mr. Chairman, moving right along, I believe Karen had given the board members a copy of the new competitive grant that's coming out for green communities. So if CMRPC, working with Ms. Green, they're going to be applying for $200,000 to do some green initiatives over at the school. To try to reduce our carbon footprint over there. And that's going to hopefully ultimately save some money as well for utility costs at the school. And so the town is the lead on this, and it's working in conjunctions with the school.
Did they have an estimate of what might be saved?
We actually wrote it in there. It is. in there.
They're looking at a
Not a lot of numbers.
annual projected cost of savings of about $50,000.
Okay. That's good.
Very good. I
So,
already signed that, so that's all set.
okay, that's very good.
Okay,
Moving right along, I also received today from the town accountant a draft copy of the auditor's report for the financial statements. It's a little light reading here for you folks. It's about 50 pages long. I briefly reviewed it today, but it is in draft form, so it's not finalized yet. You will receive a final copy, but I did want to have a copy available to you guys in case somebody wanted to look at it. It basically goes over the town's financial position and goes over all of the balance sheets and the financial sheets of where we are on June 30th, 2021. So,
Was there anything that was flagged as being a concern?
again, I just got it today, so I am gonna digest it a little bit. But I do also want to, leave a copy here in case, a board member wanted to look at it. Okay. Also, what was brought to my attention today as well, Sharon Melly, our Council on Aging Director, had stopped by the office today to inform me, unfortunately, her part-time custodian is going to be leaving, is going to be retiring, is going to be moving on, and they gave her she gave her resignation letter as of April 29th of the end of this month. I just got it today, so it's unfortunate, but I did want to present this to the board as part of the personal policy bylaws. The board's to be notified of anybody who's resigning. So the part-time custodian is going to be resigning on the 29th of this month.
Okay. So we need to do a hiring action?
So, as part of the personnel bylaws, it had indicated that she could advertise for the position by a newspaper or by multiple online job posting websites. Because of the costs, prohibited costs of newspaper advertising, she was really trying to move in the direction of posting it for no cost on Indeed and Monster.
Yep.
And then I also had recommended her to post it on the town's website as well. So as long as that's okay, she wants to post for that position. It is a budgeted position this year, and it's budgeted for next year.
Yeah,
So,
she got the money for it, she gotta fill the position.
okay. Okay.
You good, Derek?
I'm good, sir.
Yes, Jeff?
I saw that ad today in Wherever News.
Okay. Very good. So she got it in the Ware River News.
I thought you was
Okay.
gonna do that.
I don't think she posted it yet, but.
There was a job opening, I think it was 18 hours a week.
Well, this is 15. I don't know what position that is for.
Was it us, the town of Warren?
Down in Warren. Part-time
We have
position.
Ware River News around?
I didn't get mine today,
You didn't get yours?
tomorrow.
She
Well,
she didn't.
just look into that,
Okay.
see what job that is.
All right.
Do we get a copy here of the Ware River News?
We're going to be getting one.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So I wanted to bring that to the board's attention. And then also, this week, I know, Mr. Chairman, you and I had dealt with this directly. 958 Main Street, the steps over there. The couple had come back into the building this week to try to check to see on any progress that's over there. I did want to notify the board, I did reach out again to our highway department to see if there's anything that they could possibly do.
Yeah.
But they are concerned about the steps over there.
Yeah. I thought Jeremy was gonna look into it. I thought,
He was out for a few days, so.
yeah,
He was out this last week.
Yeah.
He got back
Yeah,
in
just-
today.
just follow up with him again.
Okay.
Because, yeah, we're concerned about those stairs, they're crumbling, and those plates, those
The
metal
plates, the
are
plates.
coming up,
Yeah.
and the screws and stuff are popping
Yeah.
up, and it's just not a safe situation, and I don't, the problem, I love concrete, because concrete lasts forever if you take care of it. The problem with stairs and sidewalks when you do concrete is people throw the calcium chloride on there. It quickly melts the ice, but it dissolves concrete. So you cannot use that stuff on the concrete. It's better to just use regular salt. It's that calcium chloride stuff. Whatever's added in it, it dissolves the concrete. And it looks like that may have been used at some times on there, because of the way it appears it's pitted and dissolved and worn. Maybe we can get a concrete company over there at some point and kinda, maybe that's something we could use ARPA for, I don't know. It's a health safety issue, I don't know. I would check in to see if we could use ARPA funds for that too.
Okay.
Or if we can allocate some money from somewhere, we don't have the budget. Highway doesn't even have, they can't utilize like chapter 90 money for any of that.
Well, I think it's discretionary spending for him, but he may already have it allocated.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he has any sidewalk money left, maybe that he could
Yeah, he
use.
gets what, 11,000 in sidewalk
Yeah.
money every year, but.
Yeah. But I did tell the couple that we'd get back to them. And because of the weather conditions, that it's not totally 100%, been warm lately, and it's been getting cold. So I did say to the couple that, if we could get an additional 30 days, to try to really work this out. And I sent Jeremy another email, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, Jeremy would know what to do with that and how to do it and stuff, and he might have something available or he works magic.
Right.
He does a great job. Gotta give him the opportunity to get in there and do that.
But you're right, I mean, the weather isn't even conducive to
No,
fixing
right,
now.
yeah.
But there's also another problem over there. There is a building, and I don't know which one it was, that has a sewer problem. The sewer was put in to go underneath one house and around another house and then connect. It is busted. They need to come through the stairs and the sidewalk to connect front ways to the sewer now. And he
Who is
came-
paying that, for the sewer department or is the property owners?
Property owner has to pay.
Well, that might fix our problem, because if they gotta tear up the stairs, they gotta put it back.
At least one set.
I
Yeah.
gave that information he came in my office and I gave that information to Jeremy.
If
and-
that's the case, I definitely wouldn't do any repairs till they're done.
Yeah.
And once they fix whatever they're gonna fix,
Yeah.
Is it in front of 958
I'm not sure,
Main
he
Street?
didn't, the gentleman did not give me the address, he got very irritable and, said he was going to go park his backhoe in the middle of town until he got an answer from town, and I
that's
told
good.
him.
We'll have it towed and we'll take the back out. We need
And
one.
I
We'll use it.
informed him that it was the sewer department he had to contact and to get a street entrance permit from the town. And since he's trying to work on town property, he had to go through highway.
Yep.
So he knows all that, but that did not satisfy him at that moment.
Can't please everybody. Yes, Joe?
There's also a missing plate on the steps in front of the Warren Package Store.
Yes. Yeah.
And I noticed the last time it was raining between the old spa and the building next to it, the water doesn't come forward into the street anymore. It like accumulates and heads towards the back.
Mm. Yeah, no, we went there, took a bunch of pictures, you know, Mr. Farrar and myself were there, and we met with the couple that, the woman, tripped a little bit over there, took a fall.
Yeah.
You know, thank God she didn't get hurt, but it is a concern of ours, and it is the town's property, and we gotta maintain it, so. It just, anything within towns, it takes a little bit to figure out how we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And who's gonna do it, so. And where the money's coming from.
Yeah.
Are those stairs open?
Hmm?
Are those stairs open? Everybody can use them right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it look better if we put a ribbon?
You couldn't, it would stop business. Did you get the pictures, right?
Yeah.
You wanna pull the pictures up?
Oh, boy. You want me to find those pictures, huh?
Careful how you do
I'm just trying to think where they are.
I think
So there's no
it's,
handicap access to that store?
there is, that's why they were there.
Hey, Rich, I think check around April 8th.
Well, everything, like, sometimes I throw a lot of stuff in.
Don't be throwing pictures away.
Oh, look at that, I type in steps. Look at
They came right up.
that. Step one. Oh, can I even display these?
It's some of the concrete coming apart from the, where the railing was. That's where the missing plate was, that's where the woman actually fell.
Right here and here.
It's right in there.
This one looks a little suspect.
Yeah.
That one is coming up.
They're definitely coming up.
Yeah.
They're a little bouncy when you step on them.
Right there.
Yep.
Oh, same thing.
Closer. And the railing's breaking away.
Yeah.
The concrete's breaking away from them. So,
Maybe it needs
that's
more
another
line.
thing is we wanna make sure whatever gets repaired, the railings get repaired, because you don't want somebody taking a fall over when they grab a railing.
Yep. And it-
You can see how they're pitted and dissolved, and you can see the spaces underneath the plates.
Yeah, like right here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This looks.
And that, you can see that, the way it's coming up like that, that pitting, that was obviously somebody using the calcium chloride to melt ice on, because it's dissolving the concrete.
Yeah. Yeah, and it probably gets trapped under the metal plates,
Yeah,
even this, right?
yeah.
All right, I think one more.
Wood railing. So, they definitely need some TLC. Let's find out what's going on with the sewer department, if, you know, that sewer line break or whatever, if the property owner needs to repair that. We just gotta remind them that if they repair it, they're gonna bring it back to that state because it's town property. So they definitely gonna have to work with Jeremy,
Mm-hmm.
to do that. Right. Is there anything else, sir?
Nope, no, that'd be the end of the report.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Always informative. You give us a lot to think about. So, do you have any questions about the report?
No, I don't.
No, sir.
Any questions? Anybody from Zoom have any questions about the town administrator's reports?
I didn't see any.
Okay. Comments and concerns. Do you have any comments and concerns?
I have a concern. So there are, I wish the chief was here, the police chief. Where they put the pole for the lights, where the bridge, you know, the lights that were temporary lights for the bridge.
Yeah.
Where they put the pole and where they put the guy wire, right?
Mhm.
They took a little piece of concrete out of the sidewalk. Both of those are turning into sinkholes. The one where the pole is, or was, is worse, and then where the guy wire one, that's also sinking, but that one, other one is worse. So I guess that's a Jeremy
It's Jeremy.
project?
Yeah, we just want to let Jeremy know about what's going on over there.
Okay.
So, anything else?
Nope.
Do you have anything, sir?
No, sir. Oh, okay.
Oh, you do?
Well, so this is, I had talked about looking into training for
Yep.
Microsoft Office, so I asked the QBCDC to give us some pricing. So as you can see there, they can either do Zoom or in-person on-site training.
That's per employee, huh?
Yes.
Jeez.
Well, it's 6 hours of training. And of course, the on-site's gonna be more expensive, because they actually bring all their stuff here and set up, you know, like probably in the gym or something. What if you think?
That can get quite costly,
Yep,
you know.
this is discounted too, because that's, you know, I mean, they're a nonprofit, so.
You know, a lot of, you know, employees were interested in doing it.
Yeah,
Um,
so, I mean, this is something we could potentially do,
Have we reached out to our internet people?
No. yeah, I could check.
Northeast IT?
Yeah.
I'd check with Northeast IT, see if they can provide it and how
Okay.
much, because they might just give a flat rate saying, hey, $2,000 will train everybody that you have. You know, see if we can get a flat rate, because this could add up really quick, because if we have 10 employees that wanna do it,
Yeah,
You know, we're up there now. We don't have the funding to do that.
Well, I think we might end up, if we did go with this, is maybe wait until the special, when we could allocate some money on an article and then, you know.
Yeah, I would try reaching out to Northeast IT, because I know they provide training and stuff. Maybe they can do something for us at
Okay.
a lesser rate. You good with that?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, if that doesn't work, I offer myself to show office tools for free.
Okay,
Wow.
there you go. We got our IT guys.
Yeah, that's something I do every day.
There you go. We might be able to tap into Derek as a resource.
That'd be
And
good.
free is worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, we might have to buy him some donuts.
Pizza.
Oh, some coffee.
Pizza,
Pizza.
okay.
Oh, pizza.
Pizza's
We can do
easy.
Pizza.
Pizza's easy.
Provide pizza for the class and I'm in.
It's like, if you wanna get buddies to help you move, you provide beer.
Mhm.
You know? All right, was there anything else?
No.
Karen?
There was one other email we got that I printed up for you guys.
I got that same thing.
I click on that one and I thought it was spam.
Yeah.
It wasn't, because it didn't send me to the spam count, to the spam class.
Cause I look at the address and it didn't look legit, so it wasn't really worth it.
So,
Yeah.
we kinda touched on this when we were doing the municipal vulnerability, meeting in the senior center. The gentleman from the state, was talking about how, they wanna make sure that everybody gets away from like home heating oils and fuels and stuff like that, and they're pushing towards that. And he actually said, I'm pretty sure he said by 2030, he wanted to do that. And
8 years
Our-
from now.
our question, I know it says 2050, but he said 2030.
Oh, he did.
And it's like, well, what's the state gonna do? Because you get a lot of people within this community that rely on home heating oil. And to turn around and say, okay, we're gonna make sure everybody's kind of mandated to do this, and it's not practical. You know, you can't do it unless you're gonna help them. If you come in, and then what are you gonna, my question is, what are you gonna replace it with?
Yeah.
Because apparently they're doing away with natural gas too.
And that would be a huge cost to put natural gas in the town?
No, they're getting rid of natural gas.
Well,
That's
yeah.
not even an option.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So no home heating oil and no natural gas. How are we heating our houses? What else
So it says.
can we use?
Hybrid electric gas heating system and targeted electrification and network geothermal.
Okay,
So the problem is those of us who have like steam heat with radiators, how are you gonna retrofit the house?
you would have to redo the whole heating
Yeah.
system throughout the
Yeah,
whole
that's
house to
insane.
do. And I'm like, he didn't seem to have the answers, and I apologize for putting him on the spot when I asked him about it, but I'm like, this makes no sense.
Right,
And we kind of got into an offside kind of discussion with him about it, because it's like, residents can't do this.
It kind of.
And you're not supplying the money for them to do it, so you're gonna expect all our residents to reinvent their whole heating system, but they can't use home heating oil and they can't use natural gas,
basically you're left with electricity then, which is
Again.
really expensive to heat.
which is really expensive, because now you're putting more on the grid
Yeah,
to do. And if the electricity goes down, one of the power lines goes down, you don't have heat anymore.
Yeah, it kind of like falls into bigger cities with new construction and.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, New York City did
remodeling,
it.
where they, comes the building inspector and the town kind of enforces, or you get a new house, new townhouses, you gotta go by this.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's how it is, but existing in a,
In a
town
rural
like us,
community, no.
it's not gonna fly.
Yeah.
There's no way.
No. So, it was,
It's like putting solar panels in New England.
yeah,
I can give you an
Yes, sir.
example. The house I live in, the natural gas was put in 1954.
yeah,
It's the only heat in the house. The house was built 1870,
yeah,
so it's like an open barn.
yeah.
But to change that to electricity, I'm retired. I couldn't afford that.
And that was one of my points, and like, we're a low-income community, and a lot of our residents don't have that within their budget, because they live in a fixed income. To implement something like that, we couldn't comply with it.
No.
You have a whole black market on oil, you know? People be driving to Canada to get their, fill up oil tanks.
I'll put it this way, that, you wouldn't be able to find a single tree within 10 miles.
And that's the thing, people would be,
We go back to the old way, cut
Yeah.
a tree.
I don't think I could.
people be, would,
Yeah.
gotcha,
Oh,
so,
we can just finish up, right?
yeah. So we'll move on, that's a whole different concern. My question, I have a couple of comments and concerns. Where do we stand on the radio systems?
So ironically, I just heard back from the Modular Communications, who we're doing the contracts with. They are in the final process of drafting those, so we should have those relatively quickly. And, you know, he was looking at different steps of where the project will go along and where the funding, you know, will be. I assured him we had the money allocated at this point, so we're just waiting for the contract. So as soon as that comes to myself or Chief Millette, we will get it to the board for review.
Very good.
So we should be good. We're also drafting things behind the scenes with the leasing companies for the towers. We're not gonna have those numbers for the May meeting, but we already talked to FinCom about this, and their suggestion would be that no problem, expend it out of your regular budget, and then we will allocate whatever you need in the fall special or something like that. So when those numbers come in, we will get them to the board, and we'll just figure that part of it out, whatever we have to do in the fall special to allocate those monthly rental fees.
Okay.
So it's a work in progress. It should start to resolve pretty quickly. We're just waiting on the contract.
Okay, very good. I have a couple things. First of all, you touched upon it. I also called the president of Cornerstone Bank, talked with him, Mr. Tallman. Had a good conversation with him, expressed the concerns, expressed how it really impacts our senior population and our residents not having a actual branch within the community to be able to do business. And he did understand that they're making a decision purely on a financial matter, because to be honest, we just don't bring in enough money to keep a branch open. And that's what they put it down as. I also talked to Mrs. Cunningham, and she heard the concerns, and, you know, they haven't made a decision. Hopefully in the next week or two, we'll be hearing a final decision, but they are looking at other options like ATMs, things like that. You did a great job on that, because you kind of put that in their heads and saying, hey, maybe keep some sort of, and I propose that too, with potential growth coming here in our future in the town, that you might want to keep something and maintain some sort of element within our community, because once you leave, it's going to be that much more difficult to come back. If you at least stay, whether it's partial hours or maintain some sort of resources in the town, you could always build that back up. But once you leave and you're gone, it's going to be hard to try to come back. And he did understand that. So there was that. Also, I followed up with Dex Trust about the police station, and they should be having something this week for the building department to get back on track and get going with that. So beginning of next week, they should have something there.
Good.
Okay, for permits and stuff. So that's on track.
I spoke with their architect, small little details to finish it up today.
Here. So there was that. And I have nothing else. I think that's it.
Okay, nope, I'm good.
You good?
Good.
Good?
Good.
Comments, concerns?
Good.
Okay. All right, so next meeting date is April 28th at 6 PM. That is a Thursday. Hope to see everybody there. And you're up.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor?
Rich Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's, aye.
David Dufresne? Aye. We are adjourned.